Hello, everyone. This is Christian Imazu from Nizona Corporation, and this is another series of explanatory videos regarding what we do, which is to bring products into reality through our OEM division. So, today I'm going to speak about design and packaging. This is a critical aspect in the product development process. So, I'm going to discuss how does it work, what are the steps, how long does it take, which is a very important question that most customers ask. Uh, what can we design? The label, the retail boxes, the cartons, and how much does it cost? What kind of packaging we handle? This is all about the packaging of the product, the look of the product, what the final customer will see in the shelf or in the shopping site. So it is a very important aspect that people tend to overlook, and that is why I'm going to explain every process. So, how does it work? Well, essentially, you, the customer, starts the process by defining the concept, the initial design look of the product. You can either do it by yourself, or by engaging a designer, or by working with us. So, I'm going to explain how these different processes work. So, we have a design team which will help coordinate the design with you or your designer. And we in the OEM team, what we do is to coordinate the design, image, and exchanges with a printing company, which we need to outsource in order to actually print the design of the label, the retail box, or the final packaging. So the design steps and the time. This is an important question. Most people ask, how long does it take for completing a design? Well, actually, it can take the design process itself can take anywhere between a couple of weeks to a couple of months, depending on how complex the design, how particular are you with the design, the colors, and the complexity of the design, whether you need a print proof or of it or not. Everything starts with us giving you a design based data or the design layout, which is essentially a plain design, a blank design, where your designer will put the initial images on it using a special software, usually Adobe Illustrator. So after you have an initial draft of the design, you will submit it to us, either the label or the retail box or the carton box, meaning the primary design, the primary packaging, the secondary packaging, and the third packaging. So after the design draft is completed, we will ask you to sign it so that we have a proof that you have approved it. And we will begin the data calibration. This process over here, the data calibration, is the technical adjustments of the design so that it meets machine specifications. Remember that your design has to be very precise so that no part of the design is wrongly placed in the packaging. So that's why we need a very precise technical calibration to adjust the specifications of the printing machine and the production machine. This can take anywhere between 1 to 4 weeks, depending whether there were mistakes in the design draft or there are many adjustments to be made or not. After we have a calibrated design, we will submit it to you for you to approve and sign this design. And once we have a calibrated design signed and approved by you, only then we will start the actual printing process. And the actual printing process will start after we settle on the commercial conditions of your order, meaning that we will invoice you and start the manufacturing process, start gathering all the ingredients of the product to manufacture the product, etc. At the same time, the mass printing will begin, and that usually will take 4 weeks or 10 weeks or 8 weeks, depending on what we are printing. Are we printing papers? Are we printing boxes? Are we printing foil? Are we printing aluminum foil? Are we printing glass? Are we printing plastic? So there are many factors that will affect the lead time, but usually the printing alone of the printing materials will take, give or take, 4 to 6 weeks. What can we design? Well, in general, we have to think in terms of the design items, and we have three types: the primary packaging, the secondary packaging, and the logistics packaging. The primary packaging is the packaging that will be in direct contact with the food. For example, it will be a sachet, for example, or a bottle, or the label that goes pasted on the bottle. The secondary packaging is the retail box, is the packaging that shows in the pharmacy, in the supermarket, or in the shopping site. And the third packaging is the logistics packaging, meaning the carton box. It is a master carton box that will be used in order to transport the products into a container, into pallets that go into a container. So the logistics packaging will not be seen by the final consumer, except if you are Costco or some place like that that sells the products in bulk. So the primary packaging needs to meet certain legal and regulatory requirements of your country, and we will speak about those regulations, what needs to go on a label, etc. The image design of the retail box will include the essentially your logo or the image and the colors you want to convey to the customer, to your end consumer. We will have to design the packaging materials, how thick, how sturdy it is, what kind of effect you want in it, etc. Hot stamps to give a like a premium look or a minimalistic look. That it all depends on the design. And when it comes to the tertiary design, meaning the logistics packaging design, that is usually plain cardboard paper that may include a brand name or product name, a lot, expiration date, barcode, etc. It all depends on your inventory management. If you, for example, want to sell your products in places that sell in wholesale in carton sizes, then in that case you may need a barcode or you may need some kind of information in the carton box. But if not, if your ways of selling is only at the retail level in retail units, then the carton box will not have a lot of implication in the design. So the label design, this is a primarily design that goes directly pasted, in this case, in a, let's say, in a bottle, or in on a pouch, etc. These will include usually the nutritional facts that we can see here. The nutritional facts means the amount of energy, protein, carbohydrates, sodium, etc. That is contained in the food product. Now, the nutritional facts will depend a lot on your local regulations. Some countries are very strict when it comes to nutritional facts. They will require you to display a lot of detailed information about all the types of sugars, all the types of saturated fats, etc., that are in the product. Some other countries may not have these requirements. Some other countries only require you to display the amount of calories, proteins, carbohydrates, fats, and sodium. That is the case of Japan. Japan only requires to display five nutritional facts in the label, but there are countries that are more strict, such as the United States. Second, the usage, the claims remark. In this area, you have to be very careful of what your regulations will allow you to say about the product. When it comes to food products in general, we're not allowed to use direct claims of efficacy of the product. As a matter of fact, most regulations require you to say that the product doesn't have any therapeutical effect. It's not a medicine. But some countries, for example, Japan, allow to make, let's say, functional claims in a label if you meet certain regulatory requirements. So please check your own regulations in this aspect. Some people like to put associations or certifications logos in the label when a product has been certified, let's say organic or certified halal or other form of certification. We, in general, allow association and certification logos only when the product actually has been approved by such association, um, or has actually received that kind of certification. So please be careful about faithfully putting certifications according to the product actual specification. So, and then we have disclaimers. Disclaimers are those that refer to the um, caution of the product. For example, whenever the product is not designed for children, then we usually write this product is not meant for children, or disclaimers regarding pregnancy or some other allergic condition, etc. So all these aspects are in the label and depends a lot on your regulations. And finally, the best before and the lot number. This information is displayed on the label for traceability reasons, so that we know exactly which day was the product was manufactured, and we can trace all the ingredients, we can trace all the manufacturing process, in case, to maintain the traceability of the quality of the product on a lot by lot basis. A label con, can be made of different kinds of paper, and this will be different depending on the cost that you want to achieve or the budget that you have. We work usually with different kinds of papers, and this is a very basic outline of the standard paper, which is the basic paper with no effects. Metallic foil paper is a paper that is made that has a layer of aluminum in it that gives it a metallic effect. Hot stamp is this kind of effect that we put in a standard paper, and on top of it we put a golden or silver stamp to give it a premium look on certain parts of the label. And the pearl finish paper is another effect that goes on the paper itself, so that the entire surface of the paper looks like a silver, like this, like a kind of pearl looking termination. So these are different kinds of paper, but of course the cost goes up the more effect you add to the paper. So that's another aspect that is related with budget. And this is another image of the different kinds of paper, another close-up of it. You can see that the metallic foil paper is the entire surface of the paper has a layer of metal on top that makes it gives it the metallic termination or effect. Hot stamp only covers certain parts of the label, certain words or certain images, certain surface. And the pearl finish paper, again, is an entire layer that covers the entire surface of the paper. You can add hot stamp on a pearl finish paper to make it even look even more premium. But of course, that has an effect on the cost. Okay, now we move to the secondary packaging, the retail box design. On the retail box, is the display is kind of similar to in the label, but on the retail box you have more space to display more information. How much information you put in the retail box will depend on whether you sell your product on a retail box unit or you sell it on an individual unit, right? Um, in this case, I refer to the association and certification logos, same as I mentioned regarding the label, the best before, nutritional facts, usage, and disclaimers. So the content of the retail box is kind of similar to the unit box. However, you can make a differentiation depending on, again, how do you sell the product? Are you selling the product on a unit basis, or are you selling the product on a retail box basis? For example, if there's a retail box with 10 bottles inside, some customers decide to sell the products not on a retail box base, but on a bottle by bottle basis. So that will depend, again, how you display the content. The retail box can be made of different materials, and that will depend on the type of product again. But in general, just as a general outline, we differentiate the material in three types: standard paper type, meaning the card type; foil paper, which is same as a card paper but with a layer of metal or aluminum on top that gives a metallic effect to the paper. And number three, the cardboard type. Cardboard is the thickest form of packaging and is more sturdy, is more useful for when you sell your product on a retail box basis and you need to transport the product to someone's home and the product needs to travel more and needs to be more protected from all the bumps in the road that the Amazon delivery person will encounter when delivering to someone's door. So the different thicknesses of the paper are usually 350 grams is the standard thickness of the card type of paper. The foil paper is around the same thickness but has an additional layer of metal on top to give it a metallic effect. And the cardboard type is usually F flute or E flute depending on the thickness that you can see here in this image. I think we have a close up in this next slide where you can see that the standard paper type is kind of a card uh, paper. The foil paper is same as a card paper but with a layer of metal, and the cardboard type is basically cardboard. This is a close-up of the cardboard types, F flute and E flute. Basically, there's not a big difference between those, but E flute is a little thicker. You can see in the close-up over here that is a little thicker than F flute, but both of them are pretty effective to protect a product from, again, the bumps in the road of the last mile delivery. Retail boxes can come with different effects. For example, this is a hot stamp effect. A hot stamp meaning stamping certain words or certain logos in the surface of the paper so that it looks more premium, looks gold, silver, or some kind of hologram type of effect over here. Also, the retail box can have UV printing, meaning surface printing. Surface printing is the kind of printing that has a little surface. When you touch it, you can feel the surface. This kind of surface, sorry, applies only to the card type of paper, not to the cardboard type of paper. So it looks very good visually and gives a very fine and premium look to the design. When it comes to outer carton box, this outer carton box is what I refer to as the logistics packaging. This packaging usually is not seen by the end user, the end consumer, unless end consumers buy the product in bulk. But even if they buy the product in bulk, usually it's not a matter of visual, but it's more a matter of inventory management. Sometimes, if you they are, let's say, retailers like Costco, for example, just to give an easy name, they need to manage the inventory on a carton base because they sell in bulk, right? So therefore, it's very important to have accurate indications in the retail box, accurate barcodes in the retail box, so that the inventory can be tracked efficiently by the end seller. How much does it cost? Well, it's very hard to say in this very general video how much does it cost, but let's speak about the initial cost. Depending on whether you used a gold stamp or some other effect in the packaging, usually a printing mold will be required. Printing molds cost anywhere between a couple of $100s to thousands of dollars depending on the complexity of your design. But this is a one-time payment that we require to make a printing mold to incorporate those effects into the packaging. Number two, in this slide, some customers you may require a printing proof, a physical printing proof, meaning not only a computer visualized look of the design, but physically something that you can touch and see physically. In that case, we need to make a like print test, and this will have certain cost, which usually is anywhere between a couple of $100s for to cover the costs of all the technicians that are required and all the print run that is needed to give you the print proof. So, and below you can see the usual cost of a mold, the printing mold, and the printing proof. But these again are very general guidelines that don't apply in every single case, but it gives you an idea of how much are we talking about when it comes to cost. Now, what kind of packaging we handle, and the pros and cons and the costs are next. So when it comes to packaging, at Nizona Corporation, we pride ourselves that we can handle all a variety of packagings when it comes to dietary supplements, in terms of sticks or pouches or sachets, you may call, bottles in plastic format, bottles in glass format, and then these containers for powder in plastic, like the so-called Duma type of bottle, or pouches with zip closure, and for drinks in small bottles of glass or large bottles of glass, or mini pet bottles, small bottle types as well. So when it comes to drink, these are a bunch of examples here. Glass bottles are in they come in 30 ml, 50 ml, 100 ml, 500 ml bottles. These are glass bottles, and these are the MOQs. Usually we talk about 30,000 bottles for 50 or 100, and 3,000 bottles for like 500 milliliter bottles like this. This is a special type of bottle which is called blow bottle, which is a raising material. It's a special kind of plastic that is utilized, food grade, of course, plastic, that is utilized to pack drinks in usually 20 ml format. When it comes to powders, we have the Duma bottle. It can come in 100 grams or more, 150 to 100, 300 grams in this format. Usually we speak about amounts of a couple of thousand, in this case 3,000 bottles of Duma. Pouches, we can work on pouches from 30 grams to 100 grams or 500 grams or more. Usually pouches, will the MOQ will depend whether the pouch is plain pouch with a sticker pasted, or a pouch that is printed in itself. When the pouch is printed in itself, we have a minimum printing run of 10,000 pouches, which is usually the printing run of the pouch itself. However, what we can do sometimes is to make a printing run of 10,000 and only fill, let's say, a couple thousand of pouches, and you can keep your inventory of printing pouches in storage and use as required. When it comes to small sachets usually come in different amounts. Let's say 3 grams, 5 grams, 7 grams, 10 grams, or more. And in general, we pack these sachets in retail boxes, let's say with 30 sticks inside or 15 sticks inside. All the packaging, a lot of it depends on the discussion we have with you. The amount of sachets that we print usually is anywhere between, let's say, 50,000 sachets that we pack in boxes. In this example, the MOQ could be somewhere around 3,000 retail boxes with 30 sticks inside, right? That's a standard, let's say, MOQ for this kind of product. When it comes to capsules and tablets, well, we have different packaging for that, and we have different videos explaining how we pack capsules and tablets. So, if required, we can share those videos with you. Uh, we can pack capsules and tablets in Duma bottles, plastic bottle with screw cap, glass bottles, or pouches or sachets, right? And the MOQs are usually in the size of a couple thousand bottles for Duma bottles, plastic, and glass. Pouches will require 2,000 in case of plain pouch, or 5,000 in case of printed pouch. And for the sachets, usually we require 50,000 sachets because sachets are close with machines. And when the product is close with machines, the MOQ is higher. But in this kind of case, we're talking about a sachet with 3 to 5 or sometimes even 10 tablets inside of a small, let's say, um, pack that you can put in your pocket or in a purse, etc. So the cost, as a matter of fact, our services are free. The design cost of up to two basic designs. But if you are very complex or if you have a very particular desire about packaging, we recommend you to hire a designer and work exclusively for you. Our prices are very simple. Even though I'm speaking about all sorts of things regarding design, the price that we give you is usually the price of the single finished product, inclusive of transportation to the point of delivery in FOB or CIF terms, depending on the case, meaning that we can help you cover the cost of the shipping until the port of your country so that you can handle the import process, or we can deliver the product in the port of Osaka or the port of Kobe, our local port here in Japan, so that you can take charge thereafter. In every case, we're very transparent. We provide estimations during the entire development process to align with your budget. It is very important we understand your budget so that we do not give you options that are above your budget. So the final price is defined once the formula and the design is known and confirmed by you. However, in the meantime, we will be giving you estimations so that you know where you stand. So is the final point over here is the packaging pros and cons in terms of virginity, cost, design, and delivery. So many people ask about the delivery lead time. So that's why I decided to speak about the delivery lead time here based on the different packagings. The pouch packaging has a very good virginity assurance, and the cost is much lower. And the design allows you to print the whole surface of the pouch, so it's pretty good in that sense. But the delivery is a minus because usually it is one of the packaging that takes the longest to deliver, especially if you print your own design directly in the label. In that kind of case, the printing can take anywhere between let's say 8 weeks to 10 weeks, or sometimes more, if depending on how busy our printing factory is. The Duma bottle has a lot of advantages in terms of virginity because you have to break it to open it, and the design and the delivery, but in terms of cost, is much more expensive than a pouch. And in terms of packaging in bottles, the screw type bottle is very good in cost and design and delivery. This very fast in delivery, but the screw type doesn't have the full virginity that some customers desire when it comes to opening the bottle. In that kind of situation, what we need to do is shrink back the bottle or put it inside a retail box. We have other videos about this. And when it comes to glass, it's the same thing. The virginity needs to be assured with shrink wrapping or with the retail box, uh, and the cost is reasonable as well. However, in terms of design, we may have a little bit less space to put your design on it. So, finally, to close this presentation, even though this is a very general outline, we vouch to work with you throughout every step of the process so you understand where you stand when it comes to packaging, when you understand where you stand when it comes to cost and lead times. So I hope this video was useful to give you an idea of what we can do, how much does it cost, and how long does it take. And other than this, we remain at your disposal for bringing your product into reality. Thank you very much. And this is Chris Imazu from Nizona Corporation. Sign out. Thanks.